recently I went to Berlin to attend the Classical Next Music Conference. It's a conference of classical musicians from around the world trying to gather together to exchange ideas and exchange culture. And if you have been following along, you've been seeing my first time and real reaction of what the conference is all about. It was my first time at this Classical Next conference, and it was in Berlin, Germany. And I do have some thoughts after like a bit of time away from the conference, and I want to share them with you. After some reflecting, I have a pretty much good idea of where classical music is right now and what I believe where we should be going. After speaking to many people from many organizations, talking to freelancers, talking to app developers, believe it or not, there are a few things that come to mind when it comes to the actual state of classical music. Like, what is classical music right now? Classical music is always trying to find funds, trying to find money. That's always been the conversation when I spoke to people. How can we get funds to help support our artists? How can we get funds to support diverse programming? How can we get funds to continue keeping the lights on? And the big topic was government funding. Government funding is being slashed, not just in the US, but around the world. As a matter of fact, this is not a new topic that has been come up. The States has seen a decrease in funding in 2025, and around the world, people are also trying to find ways to keep the lights on. So the cultural secretary in Berlin, in the opening ceremony of Classical Next, actually addressed this very issue, where there is not a lot of funding going into the arts for the next 3 years. That is a bit of a concern. And my job as a YouTube marketer in Berlin in this conference was to kind of give a different perspective about the whole issue. Now, if government funding is being slashed, then you also have platforms like YouTube and, Instagram and Facebook, that's already a given, but YouTube is simply a very underrated platform for classical music organizations that they should kind of take advantage of. There's so much opportunity, and I think YouTube, despite it being the longest video platform, if it's considered a social media platform, it is still quite underrated. So you have 1,500 professionals from around the world trying to ask, what is classical music doing right now? And how can we move it forward? Now, I do want to point out, as a side note, that a lot of these organizations are smaller organizations that I've talked to and have seen in the Classical Next conference. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for these smaller organizations to create opportunities to listen to really good quality of music. Now, here's a list of what I want to have you remember of what we should be thinking about as classical musicians for the future. Who are we marketing to? What are we marketing? Where is our audience? And why are we doing it? It's pretty simple. Who, what, where, and why. It actually comes down to those W's, believe it or not. So who is classical music being directed towards? I think that's important. That's a very important conversation. What are we marketing? What exactly is the programming? Is the programming more traditional? Is the programming more progressive? Is it kind of a little bit of a mix of conservative and progressive kind of combined in one program? That, I think, is what's relevant right now. I think actual state of classical music, organizations are trying to combine a little bit of the past and a little bit of what's happening today. So I think that's a positive step. I think that is a positive step in the right direction to kind of combine different types of genres in a classical music concert. But the question I want to ask for you, the audience watching, is what do you think is the current state of classical music? Because this is a forum, this is a dialogue. I'm also in the comments section collaborating and trying to talk to you guys. So leave a comment down below. I would really love to get that conversation going. The one I'm really interested in, though, is where. Where are we doing the concerts? That was a big question for me going into this conference. And believe it or not, there are so many creative ideas out there as to where classical music is presented. Trying to get out of the concert hall mindset and apply instrumental music, or what they like to call as art music, in different venues that are kind of untraditional. Actually, there's this juxtaposition of like, it actually kind of works. Like when we were in the opening ceremony concert, it's like all this classical music is happening, and in the Kühlhaus, it's not a very traditional classical music venue. It's a box, it's square, but I think that's what creates such intrigue and interest is you can have the same product of classical music, but kind of plug it into a different environment and it gives it a completely different feel. People were coming and relaxed. People were having drinks. People were having a good time socializing. I think it was a really great combination, and props to the organizers for coming up with this really out of the box idea. And lastly, why are we doing this? Why are we marketing classical music? Why do we even bother stressing out about promoting this art form? And that's another conversation. And each organization, each musician has their own reason as to why they're doing this. The big key is why. Why are we doing this? Because to be honest, as me as a classical musician, and I would say YouTuber, people call me a YouTuber in Berlin, but I don't feel like I'm not a YouTuber first. I'm a musician first. And I'm using YouTube as an outlet to get people excited about violin playing and excited about classical music. For me, I think it's all about that excitement of classical music. People are kind of starting to reinvent their organizations and they're reinventing what classical music is. Like there's so much technology that's being applied, like spatial audio. To me, that was really, really inspiring to see because I was actually not too long ago in the Boston Ballet performance of Prokofiev, Romeo and Juliet, and it was a minimalist production, but something that instantly occurred to me is the sound of the venue. You would not believe how much effort these sound engineers put in to actually create an atmosphere and an environment so that way you're really connected to the live performance. So I don't think live performances are dead. I really don't. I think the way we market to non-musicians, I think is going to be a very big factor because now we're at a turning point where in music history, and I remember my music history professor would always say this back in undergrad. Usually musical shifts don't happen at the beginning of the turn of the century. But because we have technology now, it is really kind of moving faster than it did hundreds of years ago. So usually around like the 1720s, the 1820s, the 1920s. Now we're definitely being settled into the 2020s right now. We're going to start seeing a lot more shift in how we approach music as a marketer, as a musician, and as a concert goer. Those are really important for us to understand, and the sooner and faster we adapt, the better off we'll all be. You as a classical musician, if you're listening and you're watching, comment down below. What are some things that you liked through this vlog series? This was kind of an experiment vlog series for me, and I wanted to share my experience, see what was out there, see who I can talk to. Leave a comment down below. Did you like it? Did you not? This was an experiment for me on the channel, but thank you for those people who were watching the vlog series from beginning to end. It really means a lot to me. Now, as I said, this was an experimental vlog series, and then we're going to go back to the regular violin content next week, so stay tuned. Until next time, thanks so much.